Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Samuel64, and welcome to the RoboCast. And welcome to something a little bit different to what the norm is. You may have heard us mention a few times over the course of this season that we've spoken about BattleBots Bingo, which is a little game that myself, Mystrsyko, were both invited to by the Spinnerproof podcast. In fact, we're joined by Ryan of the Spinnerproof podcast today. Hello.
Hello, I'm different from the norm.
You are different from the norm, and it's your first time here. Welcome.
It is, yeah. I'm very pleased to be here.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you on, and we've managed to wrangle Mike out of bed fairly early this morning because we were recording it kind of in the middle of the day. How you doing, Mike?
I'm tired and I don't remember where I woke up, but sure.
That's encouraging. Anyway,
You know that situation where you wake up and your brain is only half functioning and you don't even know who you are?
Constantly.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a great feeling, obviously, as we as you say. But we're here to discuss kind of our first update of the season for BattleBots Bingo. I don't know how many we're going to do over the course of the season, but I figured, 4 episodes have gone by, quite a few fights have happened at this point. It'd be nice to kind of check in and see where the scorecards are up to this point. Obviously, there's 3 to go through, but we'll sift through them as and where I can because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about.
So much has happened. I did not expect us to have this many things looking at being ticked off.
Already, I know. It's ridiculous. Now, as it's Spinnerproof's concept, obviously you can find the Spinnerproof podcast, which this was all included in the description below or in the information on Spotify and iTunes, I think, somewhere. They'll be about. But you'll be able to catch that episode there. We'll start with you, Ryan. We'll start with your card, I think, is probably the best place to start. So...
yes. So...
Go on, take us away.
Do we want to just go through the ones that we think are ticked off and we'll check that we all agree?
Yes. So, take us away.
So, the first one I want to look at, and this is going to be a controversial one, is Not a Robot, which was a competitor cries on camera, and I want to know if you're willing to accept Will Bales' eye wiping as a competitor crying.
I would be more than happy to accept that. Mike?
Can I just say that Will Bales is not the first person I would have expected to be crying on camera?
It's kind of strange, isn't it? Like obviously the outpouring of emotion was huge with Will in this segment, and it's interesting that it wasn't like tears of sadness or tears of joy. It was just kind of like emotion. It was just raw emotion rather than anything else. I found that quite interesting, but I would certainly count it as a point.
I remember back in my days at uni, I had a housemate who always spoke about a concept they called happy sad, which is apparently the hardest emotion in the world to deal with. And that seems like what Will Bales had happening there.
Yeah.
He was really happy that things had gone how he wanted, but there was just that tinge of sadness of, oh, I've given up so much.
Yeah.
And I am so glad, not just from a bingo point of view, I'm so glad that they did show that. Especially because Will is kind of the happy-go-lucky fun guy of BattleBots.
Yeah, like normally he's just so energetic and he's so pumped, full of adrenaline. It's very interesting to not see that.
And even though I'm someone that gets a bit annoyed at human drama on TV, I really hope that segment maybe did something to the brains of the people who just immediately jump on a robot and go, "Oh, that's terrible, I hate it."
Yeah.
I hope it just tweaks something in their brain that maybe they should be a little more empathetic.
Yeah, you have to think, these guys, spending tens of thousands of dollars and pounds and whatever else, currencies, they spend a lot of money on these machines. It's not just, a simple, pop down the shop and replace something. It's specialised parts and things, and it's just, it's a big commitment. Let's say that much.
Yeah, and it's their time as well. As he says, it's the time you're not spending with your friends. It's the time you're not spending doing other things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly something. I'm more than happy to accept Not a Robot as a point.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Will Bales, for your openness and for the point.
Yeah. I think you've actually got another one right after this, actually, haven't you? Which is I'm showing the bingo card as we're going through this. I've put a big tick on it. There it is. Remember to edit that in post.
That felt good.
Yeah.
Just from a distance.
That was slick. I like that. Next up, I'd say don't breathe. Well, has there been a lipo fire?
See,
I'm
this is
pretty
our double.
confident there's been a lipo fire. There was a lot of fire in what was it, episode 2 or episode 3?
Because obviously, I think the one that comes to mind for me is it Black Dragon?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident that Black Dragon's fire was a lipo fire.
Because I know it was partly due to the flamethrower system being a bit damaged, but I don't know.
I mean, if nothing else, there was another battery just sat on the floor smoking heavily during that fight.
Yeah,
So something had to be a lipo fire somewhere.
yeah. I don't know.
And then Texas Twister had an internal fire, and Witch Doctor had an internal, that became an external fire. There was a lot of fire in that episode. Surely there was a lipo involved in part of it.
I think as well. I think did Blacksmith have a bit of fire as well when they fought Quantum?
That was their whole receiver package, I believe.
So it wasn't their. So it was their speed controller. Then it wasn't their lipo.
It was
I
their
believe so.
receiver and other associated parts that
Okay.
Quantum just managed to basically go straight through the middle of.
Yeah, which was amazing to watch.
But they still cheated for that win by holding on.
Yeah.
They had a red
Oh yes, yeah. God, let's reel them comments in. Let's go.
Hang on, we haven't gotten to my card yet. Let's not do
Oh,
that.
True.
Oh man, I don't even want to talk about that. That's gonna be interesting. Anyway.
So with this one, I think we can quite safely say that there have been lipo fires.
Yeah, I think so.
But if we wanted to wait until we see one that is much more definite and clear that we can point to and go, that was the one, I would also be fine with that, because I'm very confident this is getting ticked off at some point.
Is this half a point again?
Well, the thing is, we have it twice on the card.
You do have it twice.
Okay, so you get one but not the other right now. You have to have 2 different lipo fires.
I mean, you know what? I'll take that.
Yeah, is that a fair compromise? I think we'll accept one for now, as it's fairly certain there's been one already, but it's not 100% certain. But when the certain one happens, sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm willing to go with that. It's completely stupid, but I'll do it.
Nice.
I mean, it sums up this whole concept.
Yeah,
so.
it's so that you've actually you're halfway to a line. How do you feel?
I feel so good. We are running away with this at the moment. I will say, there isn't a single line that I think will actually happen, but certainly if it comes down to numbers at the end, I'm feeling very positive.
Yeah. Well, you have one in the next line as well. Why don't you talk us through that one?
Meme machines.
Yeah.
So Nelly the Elebot versus Rainbow in a 1v1. I did not expect this to happen.
It's interesting that two teams that as well had the funding issues as well. They both had crowdfunding pages, which I found kind of interesting. But yeah,
Although they only mentioned one of them.
I know they both had it. Obviously I think BattleBots plugged both of them as well, which is strange. So surely they must have known. I don't know.
It's a strange one all around. They said a lot of stuff that didn't make sense during that fight.
Yeah, it was a wild ride.
It was, and some gourmet destruction.
Yes, seeing Nelly's face come off. I mean, I don't know if you both. Well, I'm assuming you've both seen Steven's drop zone video where he tells about Sarah predicting the future, smacking herself in the eye at the start. That was amazing.
Ah,
I have to say that fight was my favorite fight from that whole session while I was at filming.
Oh, no way.
Yes, absolutely, because I did not expect Nelly to work as well as it did for being a rushed crowdfunded project.
Yeah.
And the fact that it took the beating that it did from Rainbow and kept coming back for more, I was really impressed. And then there was the fact that it looked like a hollowed out elephant skull by the end.
Oh, that was, I don't know if you guys have seen the picture online as well of like the mess that it was afterwards. It's just glorious. It's so much carnage caused by Rainbow. It's wonderful to see.
So this actually brings up kind of an interesting conundrum that I had when I was making my predictions, and that was that I had seen 4 sessions of filming and I could not think of anything to predict that I had not already seen.
Yeah.
So I kind of went the route of splitting them into kind of different ideas. I had some that it's like, okay, a lipo fire is definitely going to happen. I'm just going to predict that. But like Nelly versus Rainbow, nobody's ever going to expect that, and I know that's going to happen. So that's a give me that I can give them that nobody will know is a gimme.
Yeah, like it was clever to like kind of think, okay, you some of the things you've seen, but people aren't going to believe.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's some things that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say I saw this thing happen. I'm gonna say it did not happen as a prediction, and I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, like I actually had trouble coming up with predictions that I had not already seen. So this was obviously one of them because I was at filming for this fight.
Sure. I think we can count the next one as well for that one, surely. Which is Ducks Do Fly. I think can we count the Cobalt fight? I'm fairly sure we can.
I mean,
See
this
how
just
high...
comes down to how high it is.
I was going to say how much of Duck has to go high because does only the bill count?
I mean, I think it was fairly high off the ground anyway. It was a fairly solid hit that Cobalt was giving it. You know, I would be claiming this. I don't know.
Yeah, Duck was probably about 8 or 10 feet off of the floor on some of those hits. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, for me, there's two key hits, which is, I think, the second big one, where Duck has got the sort of tip of the hammer part stuck in the kill source, and Cobalt really gets to line that one up. And then there's the very last hit, where it's just the body before Cobalt goes and has a nap. Those were both incredible hits.
Yeah. It was an incredible fight, really, in general, but...
What's kind of funny about this fight was I was sitting front row behind the judges for this. And because the whole arena is kind of elevated, you have trouble seeing over the spike walls.
Yeah.
And I had the judges table ahead of us, so we could not see the arena floor at all. And Duck is kind of a really short robot. So throughout the fight, we could just see the top of Cobalt's blade and like occasionally see Duck running around. And then we ended up seeing 50% of the fight anyway because Duck was above our heads the whole time.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like being in the BattleBots pits. Because we had a sort of static camera feed on a projector of the arena, but it kind of cut out two corners. And there was one fight where all we saw was an empty arena and then suddenly a robot just fly across.
Dearie me. Yeah. I'd be counting that one. The fact that Duck was in the air for most of the fight anyway is one thing, but like it was a good few feet in the air, and I'd certainly be claiming it if I was you, Ryan. I don't know about you. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I was expecting a fight, so this has gone very well. I really thought we'd have a proper argument about how high was high.
Nah.
No, it doesn't count unless it hits the ceiling. Oh wait, the bill hit the ceiling, so never mind.
Yeah, part of it hit the ceiling, so it counts.
That does leave us with one potential argument, though.
Well, yes, we'll...
Which is our final one of very punny Farouk.
Yes.
Because we've had lots of jokes. I don't know if there's anything I would specifically point to as a pun that I can sort of call to mind now.
I'm trying to think through all the interest. There's been so many. I'm trying to think.
There was one, and I don't remember what it was, but there was one, I think, in the fourth episode that Farouk just like very blatantly said it was a pun or something.
I mean,
I don't
I'm
remember
sure
what
it's
it was,
happened.
though.
Yeah,
Sam, you need to get Anderson on this.
I do. He's busy. He's at work. I can't disturb him. He's busy. Do we let the comments decide?
I think if the comments can give us one top-notch pun that's happened so far, we'll count it.
Okay, comments and general email us to Spinnerproof. I know you're out there.
To be clear, we've never given out our email address and we never will.
No, what you're on about? It's spinnerproof@hotmail.com, obviously.
Fine, comment on our Bebo page.
not the damn Bebo page again. Anyway, if any of you think that Farouk has made a punny intro, or if it's just jokes, then we'll leave a... I'll tell you what, we'll leave a poll. How about that? That's a... Yeah.
Oh, finally an advantage of being a podcast on YouTube.
Hell yeah. I can put that in the corner. I think that's fair enough. So that gives you currently 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 points so far. But a lot of yours are potentially late game or late tournament tiles, Ryan.
Yeah, we've now got a bit of a lull coming up by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So we are going to have to wait. There's some potential on Apologies to Craig Danby.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to see that.
Because,
We're not going to see that this week because there's no Science Channel show this week.
Oh, that's going to be so frustrating for the rest of this half of the season.
I know. It's just it's a shame. It's a shame.
I'm going to say, though, I'm going to be bold and say that I think there is just as much chance that that fight has gone to the Science Channel because Death Roll didn't work as there is that it's gone there because Foxtrot didn't work.
Well,
They took a hell of a beating
did,
in their
yeah.
first fight. There's every chance they're going to come out and conk out immediately.
Yeah, one touch from Foxtrot and it just stops. It could happen. We'll see.
So I was about to say that I have seen that fight, but because of the judges' table and how short Foxtrot is, I didn't actually see the fight.
So we know Foxtrot's not going to fly like Duck did, at least, but we'll have to see how that fight pans out.
Well, if it did, it wouldn't have been on Science Channel.
True enough. Any further thoughts on Ryan's card? I mean, obviously some of them are just fight predictions which haven't happened yet, like Hypershock and Whiplash, Endgame beating Tombstone, and Shredderator and Rainbow hasn't happened yet either. Again, and like I say, a lot of those are going to be like late game, late tournament tiles to get. So it's not going to be. I'm not going to see those for a while.
We've kind of picked our low-hanging fruit now.
Yes.
The Lipo Fire was a very easy one. The Farouk one is going to be a very easy one, I'm sure. Thanks, commenters, preemptively.
Yeah. Or alternatively, what a shame. No, didn't get the point there.
We'll find a way. The moment we have an update on our channel, that'll be when it's done. Yeah, now we've got to put in the hard yards. It's going to get tougher from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we come to my mess of a card then, seeing as though we're here? Because if we look here, all these yellow tiles that you see on your screen now, they're all from Mike. And Mike has...
You're welcome.
Mike has finished me. Okay, so... where do I begin?
Controversy.
Oh, fine. We'll start with the best laid traps, which is arena damage decides a fight, which we saw with Cobalt and Duck. I actually had a message from Dave Moll today speaking about this. Which I have to say thank you very much to him. We had Hal Rucker on the podcast on Monday or Tuesday, whenever I recorded it Monday. And basically, he suggested it was a potential chance that Cobalt died when it hit the floor, but he did just clarify that it was just pinned in the air and the wheels were off the ground. So, thank you for giving me that point, Dave. I suppose that's thank you to him for giving me that one. Otherwise, it would have been a no thank you.
I feel like, out of respect for Hal, we should keep it as a question mark. Half a point.
You can't give me half a point for that. It's a full point, surely.
Fine.
Thank you.
Have it.
I mean, I need all the help I can get. I think that's pretty much ended that debate, considering one of the teams actually contacted us and just clarified that as well, which is great. No grey areas there.
See, the rest of these, the issue is they're like things that you have to pay attention to in the episode, and they don't count unless Sam notices them. So I can't be like, hey, I saw this.
So the next one I'm going to come to is ad break. And the ad break is, the one I'm going to suggest is the first fight, which there was a definite edit between Blacksmith and Quantum in the very first episode. Now, it has to say it's acknowledged rather than edited out, so I'm assuming that means I don't get the point, right?
Yeah, sadly, bad editing doesn't count as it being acknowledged.
Aww.
If it did, you'd get it every time there's a stoppage.
Yeah, this is true. That's sad. Damn. BattleBots, why? Discovery, why?
had they continued the fight after the second stoppage, you would have got this one.
I know.
Because they actually showed us that it happened.
That's sad, because I know Yeti and Bite Force got stuck together too, and they had to separate those.
They got stuck together twice and had to be separated.
Ugh. Why? Discovery, why? They've
It's
really...
the magic of television.
It really is. They've finished me on a real level. I mean, Mike finished me as well with just giving me half of these garbage picks, but this is one of his. It's one of yours, Ryan. That's just disgraceful.
I mean, I really thought that they were going to be honest with us this season because I had the extra runtime. I genuinely believed that this one would happen, but so far it's not looking good.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that this could be one that proves very elusive for me.
They've gone as far as acknowledging that robots do get stuck together. I don't think they're going to take that next step now. I'm sorry.
Not me.
Yeah, I think it comes down entirely to how you guys worded this one, because like they did acknowledge robots got stuck together, but they didn't restart the fight afterwards.
Yeah, this is true. So there you go. I don't get the ad break point, which is a shame, but we'll press on to one that I did get. And that's Hide and Psych, which is Mike here was actually spotted in the crowd multiple times, and it's been plastered all over the internet. And I saw him at the start of episode 4, I think it was as well. So,
oh my goodness, episode 4! My phone has been blowing up since Friday.
You were there you were everywhere.
Yeah, it was like 10 different times that they got me in a crowd shot, and I have like I said I was gonna give a shout out to everybody that sends me a screenshot. I have a list of like 45 people I need to shout out now.
Oh god damn,
I did not think that one through.
Well, I mean, there's always a chance that you just wouldn't have been featured at all. So there's that. You don't know how the edit's gonna come out really, but yeah.
Mike's a big celebrity in the BattleBots world. I genuinely think they're putting him on screen on purpose.
They might.
You know what's
I've
possible?
become so tuned into it that there was a point where it was just the left side of your face and I still spotted it.
It's possible that they've actually seen or heard one of these podcast episodes, because I know that Greg watches some of the fan-made content for the show. So it's possible that they've seen comments saying you need to get Mike in as much as possible, and he's like, hey, editing guys, squeeze him in a few more times just to fuck with him.
Yeah, there's every chance. I mean, you know, if anything, just to build up hype or anything, I don't know. But that's no, you know, I'm happy that one got out of the way fairly quickly. You know, that was what I was kind of nervous about getting, because there's no guarantee. But I'm glad it's sorted. I'm gonna move on to my next one that I think I've got, which is Gem in Ouch. In the Science Channel Rumble for the first episode, Gem and I did hit each other. So I think they did once. It wasn't like a big hit, but they definitely hit each other disc to armor. So I'm going to claim that one.
I thought they avoided each other really well, although that's only by their standards, which still doesn't mean completely.
I think they did avoid each other relatively well compared to their, as you say, their normal standard, but I think they did hit each other once, maybe twice.
Question is, was there damage?
Oh, that's a good distinction. I've just noticed the description. So the description is one Gemini robot damages the other via friendly fire.
Yeah.
Once again, getting in with the details.
Yeah, that's a grey area.
Yeah, just to be sort of nice and clear for people that are coming across this for the first time. The bingo cards obviously have to be quite concise.
Yeah.
So there are bigger clarifications of the rules that we sort of agreed on when we went through.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've still kind of shortened those down. So it might be that I've unintentionally sort of changed the spirit of one. So if it looks like I've given an unfair definition on anything, please feel free to sort of shout that at me and we'll take a look back and check that I haven't just made things harder for everyone else because I'm a dirty cheat.
It's a desperate to win, these underhand tactics. I'll say no for now. I'll say no for now, considering, you know, I don't think it was like full on panels being ripped off sort of damage, you know, not obvious, that's for sure. But it's a difficult
one. Is that another one we have to go to the comment section for?
I'll tell you what. We'll throw it to the comments. If they say no, then I'm fine with it. If there's an overwhelming majority, I'd say sure, why not?
If nothing else, I think we'll definitely question mark it for you as a kind of. If we get to the end of the season and we haven't seen anything more, you can have the point then.
Oh, lovely.
As a minimum.
I'll take that.
If we decide you can have it now, then even better.
A retroactive point, maybe. We'll see.
Because that's how bingo works.
Yeah, it sure is. Mike.
Sam.
Let's come to you and your card.
Let's not.
You've got a few points.
Every single one of my points came in episode 1, and I've gotten nothing since then.
Well, talk us through it.
So the first one, the most obvious one, is OMG, it's Razor.
Mm-hmm.
Where I said a crusher can't or won't let go. And the interesting thing about this one is I completely forgot that quantum existed when I made this prediction. Because I was like, yeah, there's some crushers, and I do remember seeing Petunia do a vaguely Razor-like thing during one of the fights, so yeah, sure, I'll make this one. I completely forgot that people had told me that Quantum got stuck twice.
I had exactly the same problem with this. I had a little bit of prior knowledge.
Yeah, I'd heard some stories that there was a fight stoppage involving Quantum, but I didn't know, like, the degree of it, but obviously it was revealed all in due course. I think that's a fairly obvious point.
Yep, I got that one. I got Seeing the Light by default.
You've actually got that point twice. You've had that point twice now.
Thank you, Spinnerproof Sam.
Yep.
I'm so annoyed at Sam for this one.
For context, ladies and gentlemen, the description of the Seeing the Light tile is Soulblaze or Scorpios see the error of their ways and use the saw rather than the new kinetic energy spinner. And Sawblade, so far this season, up to this point of recording, has only used the Sawblade.
So what happened with this one is that I'd already watched the first half of the first episode that got sort of pre-released.
Yeah.
And Sam hadn't. And I didn't want to spoil him or anyone else during the discussions.
Yeah.
So when he said this, I tried really hard to make him make this harder. And he would not be persuaded. So I was there saying, so maybe they have to use it in like half their fights? And he's like, no, just once will do. Which I'd already seen happen. So just sitting there, giving away points. And the worst thing is, it wasn't the only one that came up on this card that way.
I know, there's another one a bit later on. What was it? Oh no, was it the Crusher one?
No, the lights that were
that was
I'd already seen.
Yes. Talk us through that one then, Mike.
Yeah, this one came from you, actually. Lights, Slammer, Action. A light is broken by a robot. I think it said by a robot or a chunk of robot being sent into the lights. And that was, I believe that was Endgame and Death Roll.
Yes.
Where... And this is one of the things that impresses me the most about Endgame is when Endgame rips pieces of robot off, you don't see them. It's just there for one frame of video and it's gone for the next. And that was exactly what happened. It hit death roll and just lights started coming down.
It was so quick as well. It was just the way that thing spins is just scary. But and yeah, you just see the glass of the lights just falling to the floor. You're like, damn. And then at least they acknowledged it.
Yeah, and like what was really amazing to me was how they kind of created their own new arena hazard because they're like driving through just this pile of glass during the fight because they were both still working after ripping each other to pieces. So it's kind of like makeshift arena hazard that they made.
Yeah, it was. I think that's another fairly obvious point. I do think you actually have one more on this card.
See, yeah, there's the problem. I believe you're referring to split personality.
I am indeed referring to split personality.
Yeah, this is one that I made. It says a robot gets split in half, not huge, because Huge was vulnerable to that last season, but I kind of very specifically was saying as close to in half as possible. And Mad Catter only lost one drive pod off the side, which is kind of just a third of the robot.
I do think I would count this.
I would count it if it wasn't Mike's own prediction.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because like, I was expecting certain things to happen at filming, and I may or may not have seen certain things happen at filming. So that's why I'm like as close to in half as possible, because, you know, I don't want like, oh, Duck's bill goes flying. That's 20% of Duck's weight. You know, does that count?
Oh.
You know, I didn't want any kind of ambiguity. As close to in half as possible. Fully vanquished. And yeah, just one drive pod. Like if it was Red Devil, I wouldn't have said Red Devil was split in half, you know.
Yeah, when we discussed it, I think we specifically
Yeah,
used
Red
Red Devil
Devil.
as an example of
Yeah.
one that wouldn't count. So as much as I want you to have this, you can't.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. You know, I have just checked that it says Red Devil wouldn't have counted, so I suppose on this occasion it wouldn't count. But
Close, but no cigar on that one.
an honourable mention. How about that?
This is when I wonder, like, can I get half points if it happens again or something?
I mean, it'd be more appropriate if you got a 1/3 point, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there you go. So for that, you can have 1/3 point,
All right, so I just need 3 robots to get split into thirds, and
and then you're sorted. And you're laughing then.
If a whole robot gets removed over the course of a season, that counts.
Oh dearie me. And that pretty much brings to the end of the points for what's happened so far.
Can I be really annoying, Sam?
Sure you can.
You have a square on yours called Toads Everywhere.
I
A
do.
Team Toad sticker makes a cameo.
Yep.
I just want to tell you that it has happened and you haven't noticed it.
Really? I've already
I
have.
just really want you to know that. And I'm just going to leave it there.
I mean, if it's probably I mean, I know Texas Sister was 4, so I'm assuming there's a Team Stone sticker on it somewhere.
There was one on an audience member that I spotted, and I took a screenshot of it, and I don't know where I put it. And I'm not going back and looking again. That's your problem, not mine.
Great, thanks for that. I'm fairly sure I've seen one on Texas Twister itself, but
I mean, it isn't a cameo if it's on there, surely.
yeah, I'd say that's a cameo. Would you not?
what's
That's
funny
like
to me
saying
is
that Robert
Well,
Downey Jr. is making a cameo in an Iron Man film.
Mike, you were gonna say?
what's funny to me is I've probably seen a Toad sticker about 3 or 4 times now. So
I probably have.
Sam hasn't noticed. It doesn't count.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's in fairness, like for the last couple of weeks, I've been kind of not able to watch the episodes fully in time because I've been busy with enjoying my life and being on holiday. But like, I'm sure I have seen one, but like, it's escaping me at the moment. So I'm sure we'll get to it at some point.
Here's the thing, though, Sam.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're the only person we've spoken to so far in this series, but you are representing a whole podcast.
I
You've got
am.
multiple people that can be doing this work.
I know.
You just need to divide your labour better, delegate a bit.
I can't do that. They're busy. Like we genuinely struggle to get podcasts recorded. It's terrible.
Just
Anderson
have
is
all
too
of them
busy
looking
to
out.
notice a pun.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's the worst thing. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get back to Toads Everywhere at some point this season because let's face it, they're everywhere. They're like a virus, just like the deer tor fur. I want to ask you guys, what, considering what you've had so far, what do you think your next point scorer will be? So I'm going to come to Ryan first.
Ooh, that is a cracking question.
The most likely one to be your next point scorer.
Just having a look through, none of them are particularly good. I think maybe our best chance is a free shipping out of the arena.
Really interesting.
Because we've got a lot of things that require a very specific matchup,
Yeah.
whereas all that requires is free shipping being against a robot they can push around.
Okay.
That's probably our best bet.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
I'm looking at your card and I'm leaning towards apologies to Craig Danby or stop it.
Yeah, I thought apologies to Craig Danby as well.
The issue is that for that, we need to kind of go the whole season with it not working. Which, again, I still just fundamentally don't think will happen either. I have too much faith, that's the problem. I don't want it to be true.
Okay, that's fair enough. Michael, comes to you. What do you think is your next most likely point scorer?
None of them. I mean, I've got things like Double Jeopardy scores a KO with its cannon, and Bronco and Bite Force don't make the top 16, and there's just so many things that I'm just like, I don't think I'm getting any more points at this point.
I mean, we all know the next one that you're going to get is Nelly the Ellibot wins a fight.
Absolutely. I have genuine faith.
I think it's probably your most likely, considering they didn't perform badly against Rainbow.
I mean, the way they lost, in a sense, was so unlucky in terms of it being a couple of battery connections that got pulled.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were taking superficial damage, and Rainbow's bar was down.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe if I'm lucky, that'll combine with that Foxtrot fails to work thing. I'll get an Nelly one. Yeah, it's that one or split personality if a robot actually gets in half instead of in thirds. But other than that, I don't see any of the rest of these happening.
Okay.
Sam, what's your best bet? Apart from Toads Everywhere, which you're now gonna have to go back for.
Oh, that's a gimme, surely. This is a tough one. I'm gonna be ballsy. I'm gonna say not a wedge.
They've been so good at that.
I know it's been the bill or the front armor. It has not been called a wedge so far. I've been very impressed, but it's bound to happen surely.
It'll be an opponent that does it, if anyone.
Yeah, possibly. I think the most likely culprit, if there is a segment on it in the pits, I think Jenny could do it as well.
I think Gabe could do it.
There's a chance. There's always a chance. I don't know. Go on.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
If they have a specific conversation about whether it's a wedge or not, would that count?
Ooh.
We'll throw that one to the comments. How about that?
I mean, for what it's worth, I think I'd give you it, because that's insinuating that people call it a wedge.
Potentially. I think if someone calls them a wedge and then maybe Hal corrects them, I don't know.
And he would correct them.
Yeah.
He would not let that lie.
No, he wouldn't. He'd tell them how it is, because he's good like that. I don't know. It's a tough one, that is. I think, okay, it's either going to be that, or Gem and Ouch, I think, is more likely as well.
That sounds fair. I've also always got slight hope for Trey on Wheels.
We can believe.
It's probably going to happen. I saw Trey on his Segway quite a few times while I was at filming, so it's just a matter of if they got it on camera and put it in the edit.
Sure. It's so difficult. Like, I think is what I find with a lot of these is they're all feasible. It's just improbable, or keeping it in the edit. That's the problem.
What we're going to have is just a massive rush of points when the top 16 gets announced.
Well, this is it. A lot of ours are late bloomers, so to speak. So this is something I want to keep an eye out for throughout the rest of the season.
See, I'm not expecting a rush of points for the top 16. I'm expecting a rush of honorable mentions that didn't quite pan out when the top 16 hits.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
I'll say, how many have you got? 1, 2. You got 2, 3, 4, 5 specific matchups as well, which is a problem for you.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be.
So, I kind of want to bring up a few things that were mentioned in the first podcast episode that we did over on Spinnerproof about the bingo.
Sure.
Kind of because I'm looking at Sam's card and it's mentioned here. one of the predictions being Yeti wins the Desperado tournament. Ryan, has the Desperado tournament been confirmed enough for you yet?
Just enough. I'm finally willing to accept it's going to happen.
I'm sure they said that on their Facebook, didn't they? After they said
it had been mentioned a few times, like by competitors and by social media pages and such, but they finally started just like blatantly referring to it in interviews in episode 4.
Yeah, it's always been alluded to, and now they're talking about it as part of team strategy, which means that teams know it's happening. Yeah. So yeah, Desperado confirmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did it, Reddit.
Nice.
What's the other thing that I have written down here? Oh yeah, who got their bingo card tattooed?
I didn't get it tattooed.
Oh, did you get some other procedure done then?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to. Maybe I tell you what. If I win, you'll find out. How about that?
Has anyone at least printed theirs out?
No. Not yet.
I did not, but only because my printer hates me with a passion.
I can't be bothered to buy ink.
I don't own a printer.
Oh, there we go then. I feel less bad now.
Well, we're doing great on that
front. Your desktop background, you know. Commit.
I don't know. Maybe late season when it's getting quite close to the end. Maybe that's when we'll have to start feverishly checking everything. I don't know. It's still early days yet. You know, we're only about a quarter of the way through the season, so we've got a long old way to go.
Speaking about only a quarter of the way through the season, I wanted to bring up one final thing that you guys mentioned. Ryan, I believe, said new Endgame looks really good this season, and Sam said it's the right shape and it's the right design now. Now, how are you guys feeling after it's gone 0-2?
Now, look, I say lots of things. Very few of them make sense. I hadn't realised just how bad Endgame's record was. I mean, it's now, 6 straight defeats on the bounce?
Something like that, yeah.
That's crazy.
And it usually performs well in those defeats. That's the problem. The Sawblaze fight you look at as quite a weak one. But other than that, they always do something. They always score a big hit or two. So they're in that really hard-to-judge place. And they tend to lose to good machines.
Even their fight with Death Roll was just an amazing performance the whole way.
Oh yeah, that wasn't Endgame sucking. That was Death Roll being excellent.
So, it's just... they're 6 straight defeats now. And it's not the kind of robot you would expect that from.
I think with Endgame, the problem that they have is because they started so well, they got given really high end opposition quite early on. So you had their first 2 fights where they beat Shredderator and Lockjaw, wasn't it? The first 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Since then, they fought Bite Force, Son of Waiachi, the Rumble with Warhawk and Brutus, which I think they were unlucky to lose. They just couldn't spin their disc up. And they lost to Sawblaze, another great machine. And this season they fought Death Roll, dominated the fight and got hit once and died. Normally you'd expect getting hit that often, as a robot like Death Roll would, conk out itself, but it just kept going. And Ribot. Ribot's the only one where I thought, okay, this was a poor performance from Endgame. So I think they've been unlucky, very, very unlucky to have lost the way they have, and the opponents that they've faced have been quite high end, but starting to get to a point now where I'm thinking, okay, is it bad luck or is it just poor performance?
I'm really wary right now. Sorry, go on, Mike.
Now that you mentioned all of their opponents, they have faced a lot of vertical spinners.
They have.
I mean, Bite Force, Warhawk, Brutus, Death Roll, Ribot. Practically all of their losses have been to other vertical spinners.
Yeah.
And the other was against the best wedge.
Yeah. And the other was against the biggest horizontal spinner there is. So there's no disgrace. Endgame's an interesting one.
Is Endgame the new Sub-Zero, where they just get fed to the biggest spinners and can't catch a break?
Maybe. Who knows? I still think there's potential in Endgame this season. I think there's a long way to go for them.
Again, Desperado's an option for them,
Yeah,
but that looks like it's going to be pretty stacked anyway.
Yeah, there's Bombshell sniffing around as well, isn't there?
I mean, I wouldn't say that makes it stacked, but okay.
Bombshell's good. It's just not as good as some others.
Bombshell's one of those robots that's like 98% of the way there, and it's that 2% that really shows every time.
Yeah.
In fact, Bombshell is a perfect demonstration of just how strong the field is.
Yeah, they lost. I mean, they beat Tombstone. You don't beat Tombstone by accident. You know, it's Bombshell is frustrating. I'm actually feeling quite confident about that heavy shelling tile on my card. The scoring a cheesy win, because I've got a feeling something's coming.
And let's face it, at this point, any win I think we're going to define as cheesy anyway.
No. Just Bombshell wins a fight. Yeah. Ryan, I think you were going to say something about Endgame, possibly, or was it?
I don't remember what it was.
Oh,
it was something inane and pointless.
Nice. Best place to be.
My speciality.
Ah, dear me. Right. Any further points to add to our first update of the bingo cards, then, chaps?
Not at all. That's been very thorough.
Yeah, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about, or didn't want to talk about.
So, currently then, I believe that makes Spinnerproof in the lead.
Well, obviously.
Yes, it's been fixed from the start.
With 4 points so far. Not a bad start, I think you have to say. 4 points for 4 episodes, so you know, at this rate you will complete the whole bingo card, but I think it's going to become a lot harder as the season goes on. For me, that leaves 1, 2. Nice. Potentially
Two and a question mark.
Two and a question mark, potentially. And obviously, I've got to go back and find that damn Team Toad sticker. So potentially 3 sooner rather than later. And Mike, you're on 1, 2.
I believe I'm on 3.
Yes, you're on 3. You're on. You got Omega's Razor, Seeing the Light, and Lights Slammer action. So yeah, so you're on 3 as well. So currently Spinnerproof leads, and me and Mike kind of similar kind of area. Now that we've obviously, we during our first part of this on Spinnerproof, we predicted how many points we'd get to the end of the season. Has that now changed?
I don't remember what I predicted.
I predicted, I think, 6 or 7 or something like that. And now that I've actually looked at my card, I'm pretty confident I'm getting no more than 3.
Do you reckon that's it? That's the end?
Yeah, I think the whole rest of this bingo game and all these other podcasts that we're going to be making is just going to be me nodding my head and saying, uh-huh.
It's just twiddling your thumbs the whole time, saying, "Yeah, I picked nothing up."
Yep. You got that point too. Yep. That's going to be my whole rest of this game.
Nice. I'm actually feeling a bit more confident. I think I predicted 3, and then whatever happens from there, I'll take. And given that I've got 2 the question mark and a 3rd probably on the way with Toads everywhere, I think up to 5 I think is realistic now. You
guys are really lowballing yourselves.
I think I've got,
well, you're the one with the easy card.
Yeah, you've got all your own picks. It's great.
I'm seeing a good 8 or 9 on ours that I think we could do.
8 or 9. God damn.
You're just gonna fill in half the card.
I mean, I have the power to just tick them all anyway.
Not this part. I'm editing this part. You've got no chance. Deary me. So I guess with that said, we've come to the end of this part. So does that mean the next update's on Mike's podcast?
Yeah, I believe that's how it's going to end up going. We'll have to dig up all the rest of the guys and see if it's just going to be me or there's going to be other people representing roasting robots.
Yeah.
I think we should see how many voices we can get into one podcast. Just make it a complete and utter mess.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
All I know is Sam, as in Spinnerproof Sam, would have an aneurysm if we did that.
The most we've ever had on RoboCast, I think, was 5, and that was just carnage. Any more than 4 it starts to get difficult. Any more than 5 is just no.
We struggle enough with 2.
It's organisation is the worst with more than say 3 people. But chaps, thank you very much for joining me. It's been great to go through this again, and I'm looking forward to maybe not taking any more off for the rest of the season.
Yes, I'm quite looking forward to seeing Spinnerproof win their own game that they set up.
Yeah, it's a rigged.
It's okay. We'll do a BattleBots one that we don't play. How does that sound?
That sounds good to me.
Excellent. Well, Sam, thanks so much for having us.
It's
been fantastic fun.
No problem
Especially
at all.
because,
Pleasure being
winning.
here.
No problem at all. And don't forget to go and check out these 2 guys. They both make fantastic content, and I'm sure you'll love it out there. But with that said, I've been Sam Elliott64.
I've been Mystrsyko2, I guess, representing Roasting Robots.
I've been Ryan from Spinnerproof.
And I'll see you at some point this weekend for the 5th episode review of BattleBots. Oh boy. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye! Oh, that was way worse than Sam's one.